Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, happy Monday. Welcome to another market open stream. And the bell did just ring. I just caught it. Today, the market isn't looking so good. So, what is going on? And there is something that's pretty bad that I want to discuss. But is it really bad for Bitcoin and crypto? All right, let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com. And, of course, make sure you follow all of my channels within my CRU brand, I guess. Good morning, guys. Welcome. Hopefully you guys are doing good. Had a good weekend. You know what? Looking at the U.S. market is not looking so good right now, although NASDAQ is improving. But Dow is at negative 400. NASDAQ is negative 176. It was at negative 200, so it does seem like NASDAQ may be turning around. But right now, we are seeing some deep red at opening. Why is this? Well, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, if you are an AMC trader, well, unfortunately, you could see this headline. Regal Cinemas, which is a competitor of AMC, is basically saying they're going to declare bankruptcy, right? So it's not helping AMC. It was down, it's still down 38%, right? So I don't know if meme stock traders is still a thing, but right now it's not a good time to be a meme stock trader. Well, maybe. I take that back. Maybe if you're looking for volatility and looking to buy a bottom, but negative 38% right now. And something else like Bed Bath & Beyond that dropped 40% on Friday is still down 8%. So right now, meme stocks are definitely not doing good. And this is different because Ryan Cohen was behind some of the other companies, the guy behind some of the other companies where he's trying to save them. He dumped his entire share of Bed Bath & Beyond on Friday. That's the reason. But AMC is not doing too good today. As for Bitcoin, it's down a little bit more, 21.1, 21.2. About the same. Yesterday was about 21.3, around 21.3. So about $200-$300 less. Obviously, I think today, right now, at opening bell, there is some pressure, some more headwinds that Bitcoin is facing right now. But it's not just this AMC stuff. There is a couple other things that are worth noting and paying attention to. For example, China is cutting their rates, which is it's the opposite, right? It's entirely different than every other country in the world, which is basically raising rates to try to curb inflation. But China is cutting their rates. This is the second time within just a matter of a month. And this is because they realize their economy is not doing so well due to all the pandemic shutdowns. Their factories and workers have been hurt quite a lot. So they're not really worried about inflation. They're worried about too much economic slowness. So they're actually cutting rates. So this is scaring world markets a little bit, because they're looking at, well, if China's not doing so well, then how could other countries be doing well, right? And plus, a lot of supply chain issues that we're facing right now has to do with China and their manufacturing. So that's number one, something we need to pay attention to, whether or not this situation is going to get better, and hopefully it is. Another one that we need to pay attention to is the DXY. The DXY continues to go up and up and up and up. It doesn't seem like it's coming down, right? And that's because some of the other countries are facing worse inflation than the U.S., so their economies are not doing as well. And that is why our dollar strength is actually gaining against the euro, the pound, the yen, and so forth, right? But many people think that we have a double top coming. Someone just said it. We had hit around 109 something before 110 previously, just a few months ago. So we have come back down, and then we went back up. You know, the thing is, the back up, the B part that we're in right now is due to because some of the economic numbers turning out to be better than expected. So a lot of people think, well, if you go analyze the DXY, we could have that double top. And then if we do, it's going to come drastically down, right, to that C level. And if we do, that will be fantastic. Fantastic for Bitcoin, fantastic for tech, for high growth sector, right? I guess we'll see if that happens. The situation's a little bit more unusual now, right? Because this is more measuring a macro scale, not really just like charting a stock, right? But you know, many technical people, I should say, they do swear by some of these, you know, these levels and indicators and charts. So we will see if they are right. But right now, the DXY is definitely still on its way up, and that's no good for a lot of things. Now, there is one other thing that I want to bring up this morning that is bad. And again, and I hate to pick on UK so much, but man, there's a lot of stuff happening with UK. So I saw this. Citigroup projects that UK inflation will breach 18% in January. Right now, we're above 10 for UK. It's projected to go basically double to 18% in January as energy prices skyrocket. So according to this, there will be a huge energy, I guess, tax raise. It's almost double, from 1,971 pounds to 3,717 pounds, and this is annual cost for basically gas, I guess, or energy, or overall. I think both, maybe, but that's a big jump. That's a big jump. So UK is not getting any better. Obviously, UK, one of the biggest economic powerhouses in the world. This is important. And also, this is not good at all. That Nordstream Pipeline that brings natural gas from Russia all of a sudden went into an unscheduled maintenance, right? Again, there's been a lot of fears that Russia is just going to cut off gas to Europe. And, you know, last time they did maintenance, people thought it wasn't going to be turned up again. It was turned up, but only flowing like, you know, partially. But now it just all of a sudden it shut down, right? So what happens if Russia really just does not turn it back up again, right? What is the UK? Well, UK is not so dependent, but what is Germany and Italy and some of these other countries that really are dependent on this natural gas? What are they going to do? And how is that going to affect things, right? So this is bad. Not good. Not good at all, right? So on a macro scale, still a lot of things to worry about, right? This war is still not over yet. There are still a lot of worries about fiat currencies around the world, right? And how that affects the DXY. And of course, inflation is still a real thing. Not just with UK. I mean, JPMorgan also says there will be a big rate hike coming in September. The minutes that came out a few weeks ago, or maybe last week, Fed, basically the Board of Governors and Fed Chair Powell both basically said we're still not really seeing inflation go down. We're still taking this very seriously, right? And most project there will be another big, probably 75 basis point rate hike coming in September. But the good news about this is JPMorgan thinks that it is the last one for this year. That November and December, even though there will be meetings, it won't be nearly as big, and it'll start tapering out. And in fact, some people think that the Fed has raised rates too much so that in 2023, we're actually going to see them start cutting rates once again because the economy will be slowed down to a crawl, and then they need to do something to jolt it back up again. We'll see if that's true. Right now, what we do know is labor force is still strong. Unemployment is still low. Consumer demand is still strong. Some of these companies that have reported said we don't expect Q3 and Q4 to be worse. and their earnings are actually quite good. Not everyone, but some. So we'll see what the Fed does in September. So this is also something that a lot of people are speculating on right now, right? Like whether or not we're going to still have a huge 75 basis point hike, or maybe they're more dovish and go 50 basis points, you know, or something even better than that. I don't quite know. I don't quite know at this point. All right. So that's most of the stuff I want to cover in terms of world news, economic news, macro stuff. What about, you know, Bitcoin and crypto? Well, looking at this, Australia is very bullish, very, very bullish. Their treasurer said that, you know what, we're going to come out with regulations unlike anywhere else in the world. And this is not a bad thing. They're not saying it like we're going to just like block everything and take control like Gary Gensler, right? They're actually going to do something called token mapping. And they're going to map basically all the tokens and the categories and niches that they fit into, right? And then plan on how to differentiate them, right? We know Australia is very pro Bitcoin crypto. They are about to come out their Bitcoin ETF, not just one, like several spot Bitcoin ETFs. And they're overall, you know, they're not as strict with their exchange regulations. And this is very encouraging that they will be actually taking a deep dive into each project and declaring, you know, what's what, maybe declaring what's a security, what's not a security, right? What's a utility and so forth. Unlike Gary, which is basically saying, okay, this project is security without giving any reason, and basically blanket, you know, covering the whole sector, saying that it's all securities, right? Outside of Bitcoin. I mean, that's not what we want. What we want is this, and this is very, very good. Also, South Korea, also very bullish on Bitcoin and crypto, right? 7 of their brokerages plan on starting crypto exchanges next year. That's interesting, right? It's interesting that they just don't offer crypto. They have to start a crypto exchange. Why can't you just have in a brokerage? I don't know the difficulties of just combining the two, but it's definitely they're definitely still moving forward despite Terra collapsing, despite Terra USD collapsing, despite they're still trying to talk to Do Kwon to see what's, you know, what has happened. Right, Do Kwon is still in the wind right now, but you know they're not stopping. They're not giving up. Right, it's a blip on the grand scheme of things. Right, it's a little hiccup, and then you know what? Everyone is moving forward, so that's also good. As for dormant Bitcoin addresses, this is a staggering stat. Staggering. As for holders that have held for at least 5 years, okay, 5 years, the number of Bitcoins being held by these holders for at least 5 years, 17.87 million BTC, okay, and what does that mean? That accounts for over 90% of the circulating supply right now. So what does that mean overall? 90%, over 90% of all the Bitcoin ever mined that's circulating right now in the world, 90% has been held for at least 5 years. That's a staggering stat. That is wild, right? You think about it. All the fluctuations, everything that we're going through right now is really fighting over what? Less than 10% of the supply. And as time goes on, more and more and more and more are being bought and held and hodled, right? So you're really seeing just a very small piece of the overall pie, basically, right? And if you think about that, there is no way, as more demand comes to the space, as more people and institution the company come into the space, and as supply continues to diminish, there's no way that Bitcoin's price is not heading higher, right? You just do the math. It is. So that's a staggering stat that I just want to show you guys. That's quite amazing. And And of course, I've shown this before. This is the reason why the balance on exchanges continues to drop. It's at a 4-year low now, and it continues to go lower and lower and lower and lower and lower as more and more people accumulate and hodl. That's the name of the game. All right, last two things. BendDAO, which has made headlines recently for the wrong reasons. They allow people to stake their NFTs and get use that as collateral to get a loan. Well, so many people have been taking out basically ETH because they rather. This is funny. I was reading through this. Okay, so this is one of the first NFT-fi, not DeFi, NFT-fi. So basically you put down, say, your crypto NFT, like Bored Ape Yacht Club, and whatever the floor price is, that you could take out half of it, right? And the floor price has been going down and down and down and down. So obviously not good. But some of it has gone down so much that the collateral, I mean, the loan that they took, right, the ETH that they borrowed is actually worth more than an NFT. So if that's the case, right, why would you repay your loan? You'd rather just get liquidated, right, and you just keep whatever you took already. And that's what's happening. They're running out of ETH. They're completely out of ETH. They had 1,500 according to this. Or no, they had 18,000 and they're down to less than 1 ETH because no one is repaying any of the loans. So it's like some of these projects have such bad economics. No one cared to look at it or calculate it, right? Because they're just assuming that, okay, people will repay their loans or put more down if, the floor price drops too much, and, don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about it. We'll have people that's repaying their loans. In this case, no. Everyone's just keeping the ETH that they took because it's worth more now. So it's I laugh at it, but it's just really stupid. So this project seemed like it's going to go down, and if it does, I don't know what's going to happen to all these NFTs, whether they're just going to sell them off for pennies on the dollar and may crash the entire NFT market. So something else that's not good, all right? But again, that's why the best way to look at a situation like this is when things are rough, it gets rid of all the bad apples, okay? Like all these companies that had really horrible risk management or I don't know, just how their finances are structured, or bad leaders, or bad project overall, right? Like all these things. During good times, you don't see them. But during bad times, that's when they get hurt, and now they're getting weeded out, right? So that's the best way to look at it. All these projects that should not exist, they're getting thrown away, right? But in the meantime, unfortunately, it does hurt a lot of people that are utilizing them. And that's pretty much it. There's one more article, but I'm not going to show it because it's too fuddish. But overall, you know what? Hey, Bitcoin came up a little bit, 21.3, so that's better than where we started. Let's see where the overall market is. Is it recovering more? No, NASDAQ actually got worse, a little bit worse, but that's okay. Bitcoin is coming up. Bitcoin is leading the way, so that's good. All right, let's do some Q&A. JL, when I come over and look at your Ferrari when you get it, I'm sorry. The answer is no. All right, scrolling up here. They are also cutting rates. Wait, they are cutting rates. Also, they have increased liquidity in the market. I mean, that's the point of cutting rates, to increase liquidity. But the reason why China is doing so is because well, at least their central bank thinks that their economy is crumbling and that they need a jolt, basically. The weekly BTC Stochastic RSI showing a dip coming. I don't know if I agree with you there. Let's see. Not quite there yet. And I mean, stochastic RSI tends to be faster moving, but RSI is still dirt low. We're still around 30. And keep in mind, we're coming off the point where it has been the point where it was the lowest ever in history for Bitcoin at 24. And MACD is still going up. So I would say stochastic RSI, not a great indicator by itself. Case in point, take a look at this in 2019. Even if it hit top, it could stay at top for a long time. You gotta combine it with other indicators. And RSI is dirt low, and MACD is still on its way up. So I would say on a weekly, still looking good, especially on a shorter time frame. The daily looks even better. I mean, obviously things are flipping around, but you know, technicals only go so far. Macro stuff is what's driving things right now. I mean, you can't ignore the macro stuff, right? But yeah, so there's that. What else is there? ETH is going to 3,500 by the time to merge. That would be in 1 month. I don't think, Mike, it could get to 3,500 before the merge. Please consider saying the date at the start of each stream for those of us listening to autoplay so we know what day we're on. Yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing because I don't want you to know what day it is so that you can listen to it anytime you want. I'll consider it. NFTs are trash, someone said. All right. Given the raw sewage disaster in the UK at the moment, if you're in London right now, it would be, I'm not going to say the rest of it. Is it really that bad? I don't know. I don't know if you guys are exaggerating, but there's a lot of people supposedly in the UK that's been saying, yeah, you know, all these headlines about how bad it is in the UK is actually correct. It's just not good. I mean, you guys tell me if that's really the case. I didn't hear about the sewage situation. Have I seen a new Hondas yet? Yes. Which one in particular? It's official. George is timeless. Crypto. Welcome. Everyone is George, kind of. Well, thank you for that. Kind of. Is 200K still in play this year? I'm going to say no. I think that's a little bit too ambitious for this year. I would say realistically, I would be happy to see Bitcoin at 40,000 by the end of this year. I do think if we were pretty close at breaking that 25K barrier, right? We did break it slightly, but we were on our way. And there was a big gap between basically 25 to 30,000 or 28,000, something like that, right? So I do think we still have a really good chance to get back to that point. And I've said this before. Right? I think for us to get back to this point, it will happen, right? Now, from this point, between 28,600 and 30,000, from this point to 40,000, that's going to take a lot, right? And I would say that's what I would like to see by the end of the year. If we can get to 40,000, that would be a win in my book, and we build off of that going to 2023. But maybe we don't. Maybe we stay in this range, right, at around 30,000. But I'm still hopeful that the remaining of this year, things move very quickly. Keep in mind, it does seem like, okay, we're moving in September. There's not much time left. But we have seen some crazy, crazy runs towards the end of the year previously during some of the previous recoveries, some previous top moments, right? We have seen some major, major movements in Bitcoin's history. So I would say that if that rate hike in September is not as bad as people think, and again, the headwinds are kind of removed and inflation numbers and economic numbers are still looking good, then we could really run starting October, November, December, especially, traditionally Q4, the Santa rally is still in play, right? So we could definitely see some good movement at the end of the year. So I would say 40,000. I'm a little off track there, but 40,000 is what I like to see. But 200,000, way too high, way too high. Faz, I swear I've seen you. Maybe you did. I just met someone at the mall yesterday. I didn't catch his name, but yeah. Crypto, man, you should invite me to your pad. Your house is absolutely crazy. I don't even know where you live, but wherever you live, it's really, really nice. Maybe the worst is still not here. Get ready for rain, but if there's sun, we will celebrate. Okay. Christopher, yeah, that's one stance for sure. I'm not gonna repeat it, but I would say overall I agree with what you said. Hey George, long-time listener, first-time caller. What do you think about TCAP? I never heard of TCAP. Total crypto market cap token. Maybe I have heard of it. So it's a token you trade that's based on the overall market cap. Well, I mean, this just sounds like a horrible idea. And the market cap of this total crypto market cap token also is ridiculously small, no volume. So I don't think good things about that project. LWJ, I missed a super chat. If I missed your super chat, I'm sorry, but don't write a message saying I missed your super chat and say I missed your super chat. Here's my question, right? Because it's gone. It's off my screen already. I can't see it. In case you guys don't know, these things only go so much. Go back so far. Oh, I'm sorry. I did scroll up a little bit, and then I found it. Not a little bit. LWJ asks, do you think Avalanche has a chance to recover back to 100 again? Yes. You asked that as if something fundamentally changed so that there's no way it could go back to a previous high. The answer is no. Nothing has changed. It's still just fine. Still a great L1. Still a lot of projects are within. DeFi is still there. They have their bridges. They built their own new wallet. They're still growing. So yes, it does. Now, are you asking if it's going to get to 100 before the end of the year? I would say probably not. Fizzle also asked about Helium. I think Helium is a great project. They're into 5G and Wi-Fi and basically getting miners out and building a mesh network with the users. I like that. Nick, that's what I was hinting. I don't know if he's still here. Are those cars in the background Lego? Yes, they are. I don't know if you guys picked it up. I've been, changing my background a little bit at a time, but I think I'm good with my current background. But yeah, those are Lego cars. I didn't pick up the new Camaro yet. I should though. It looks pretty good. Jeff, thank you. Gankman, do you think the used car market will calm down anytime soon? Okay. Yes, but not anytime soon. I'm hearing from the manufacturers that, things won't improve or get back to normal until, Q1, Q2 of 2023. That's what I'm hearing. Like the ones I've talked to, they're like, yeah, you know, this situation's bad. We can't get enough cars out there. So I don't think it's going to resolve until like probably like summer of 2023. Hopefully it gets resolved sooner, but yeah, that's what it seems like. It's so bad for cars. It's so bad. I'm still searching. I'm thinking like it has to get better, right? And I'm searching the dealerships I work with, like a Toyota dealership, a Honda dealership. They have 0 cars on the lot. It's like nothing. Like they can't get anything. And if that's the case, you can't get new cars. Well, then of course used cars are sky high. And all the dealerships are playing games again, marking up their cars by 10, 20, 50,000, sometimes 100,000 markup. It's crazy. Sol is scaring me. Rumors of it going to 0. Well, you tell me. If you blindly believe someone's telling you that Sol is going to 0, you should probably do some homework on that, right? And what are the reasons they gave for going to 0? Probably nothing. just you know, it's just spreading FUD. Anything will go to 0. Obviously, we saw pretty much Luna go to 0, but there's a lot of people just saying that for no reason. You got to really dig into, well, what are they saying? Is it legit? Is it something I should be concerned about? And if it is, then get out of it. But I would say Solana right now, no. There is a lot of FUD, obviously, around Solana. They're complete opposite of Cardano. And it does seem like Cardano and Solana bag holders are fighting each other for different reasons, I guess. Or you should say the same reason. Basically, the reason is to try to pump their own bags. But I'd say they both have their pros and cons. Let's just put it that way. Lots of fancy cars sitting at factory in Texas waiting for chips. Yeah, that's what I hear. It's like they have the cars, but they don't have the chips. And I don't know why it's so hard to mass produce those chips. Thoughts on Tesla raising price after September 5th? Only the FSD. Actually, I put this out. I put out a short on my Drivers Only channel and on TikTok about this. So if you're thinking about getting a Tesla and you want to order FSD, you better do it quick. After September 5th, it's going to go up to 15,000 from 12,000. Now, this is after some new FSD beta software, 10.69, which supposedly is really good. That's why he wants to do it, right? I don't know. From what I've seen from FSD, first of all, it sucks that Tesla, not all Tesla holders get it, but supposedly you'll get it by the end of the year. Like everyone's supposed to get it by the end of the year. We'll see if that's true. But second of all, even the autopilot, the non-FSD, there's questionable moments when you use it. Like, I don't fully trust even autopilot. So I don't know how good this FSD really is. But anyways, the good thing about getting it is the fact that it helps your car not depreciate. Because if FSD keeps going up and you have it, let's say you bought it at 10,000 or 12,000, now it goes up to 15,000. It just raised the value of your car by $3,000 or $5,000. So that's the good thing about buying it. Whether or not you actually use it, it does help your Tesla retain its value. And, you know, actually it could boost the value and you could actually sell it for more than what you bought it for. I bought my 2022 Model Y Performance. Huge phantom braking issues at highway speed. I haven't experienced that, but I have experienced the stop and go traffic, like the you know, what do you call it? The following, I guess. It's just, I guess, adaptive cruise control. Okay, and like it speeds up so fast. Like the car ahead of you speeds up, and you know there's a distance. The car will basically floor it and try to catch up and then do an emergency braking basically because it's going way too fast. Like, I don't know what happened there. It wasn't like that before. But now I can't even use autopilot and stop and go traffic because it's just annoying. Joseph asked, September is historically a weak month for BTC. Throw those out the window. Because this year proved that all that is nonsense, because we have gone through very traditionally bullish months where Bitcoin went down and also bearish months where Bitcoin went up. So none of that really matters. You can't always rely on what happened before, because the current situation now is just so different. Bitcoin has never been through something like this. This is one of the weirdest recessions we have ever seen in history. And Bitcoin has never been in a recession. So that's why things are different. The Shaolin, hey, that's actually a pretty good analogy there. Would you go to war with a 6-shot reliable revolver, or a M15 that's super fast but jams at every clip? That's a Solana argument. But here's the thing: the 6-shot reliable revolver can only fit 2 bullets. The remaining 4 slots are covered up. That would be a better analogy. Is like Solana is having problems. It does jam up very fast. But on the other hand, Cardano is not even finished, and you can't use it fully. So, yeah. Will we be able to review a Rivian? I like so. I like to. I don't know how to get my hands on one. I have to reach out to the manufacturer. They're actually not too far away from me. A couple hours. It'll be nice to take a factory tour and kind of look at it. I've been seeing Rivians on the road. They look quite nice. I would love to drive one. Can ETH beat new all-time high after merge? When altcoin season kicks in, yes. Yes, it can. It won't beat it right away after the merge, but after we get a good recovery upwards and we get into altcoin season again, yes. Do you think ETH will ever flip BTC? My opinion is yes. Yeah, I agree with you. At one point in time, I thought, no, it's not possible. But you just look at what's happening now. They're about half of BTC already. So can it happen? Sure. Over time, they're going to start gaining more. The only counter to that is if Ethereum continues to falter, let's say the merge goes horribly, or even after the merge, they just can't scale ever, then the competitor still steals their market share away, then they cannot, right? But assuming that they're still leading the way and DeFi projects and NFT projects are still vast majority on Ethereum, then they can still do it. Funmaster B. I have my Rivian RT1 for a month. Love it. Have you driven one? No. I would love to drive one. I have mine on order. I have no idea when I'm going to get it. Nate says we're heading for depression. I hope not. I'm not going to discount that altogether. I really don't think we are, and I really hope we're not. But I guess we will see. Right now, the economic numbers do not show that we are heading in depression. Inflation is still high, yes, but consumer spending and, home purchases and stuff like that still does not show we're anywhere close, or unemployment, stuff like that. STX, Stacks. Well, Stacks is basically a programmable layer, like an L2 on top of Bitcoin, right? And many people like Michael Saylor and other Bitcoin maxis say all these good stuff about Stacks, saying, oh yeah, you don't need Ethereum, you don't need DeFi, you don't need anything because you have Stacks. You could do it on top of Bitcoin. The problem is, yes, you could do it on top of Bitcoin, but are they being done on Bitcoin? And the answer is no. I mean, it's great. It's a great alternative, and maybe one day we will see a lot of other dApps on top of Stacks that's on top of Bitcoin. But still, you're not still getting the same kind of, let's just say, Bitcoin maxis argue about like network security, overall strength of the network, stuff like that. When you're relying on Stacks, you're using like basically nodes on top of the Bitcoin network. So again, it's not proof of work anymore. It's proof of stake. And all the arguments that you have against proof of stake goes out the window because you're relying on another network that basically interacts with Bitcoin. So it's not the same thing. So yeah, it's a very gray line, basically. It's a gray line with everything. Like with centralization, with decentralization, you have projects with ledgers that are very decentralized, but the overall, say, supply is not decentralized. Also, you could say things about governance. You can have projects that's very decentralized in tokens, and the nodes, but not governance. Governance is still controlled by one man. Well, is that truly decentralized then? Well, then no, right? So it's very gray. I think people like to paint this picture black and white, like, okay, this is a decentralized project. This is not a decentralized project. But really, if you kind of dig in, there's always some facets to it where it's not completely decentralized. We haven't seen one project that's completely decentralized, other than, you could argue, Bitcoin. But for some period of time, Bitcoin wasn't that decentralized either because 50% of the hash rate was in China. That's no longer the case. So that's good. That's why I argue that was really good. But even then, you could argue, well, Bitcoin wasn't completely decentralized. Now it is, a lot more so. Anyways, I'm ranting on, basically. I mean, there's a lot of things you just need to consider. Mark, I have no idea what's going on with Rally. I have not paid attention to that project whatsoever. I really want to just tell them to shut down my George coin there because I think it's just sitting there doing nothing. I do want to redeem it. I want anyone that bought it and held it, I want to redeem it for something new, so just so we could get out of it, but I don't really know what's going on with that project anymore. What does the merge mean for ERC20 tokens? Nothing. They continue to operate the same way. Should we be concerned about Michael Burry selling all his holdings? I don't know. I mean, he got one thing right in 2008, but since then, he's been calling the demise of a lot of things that hasn't happened. I mean, he continued to be a Tesla short. Has that worked out for him? No. He's been calling for Bitcoin's death for a long time too. Has that worked out? Not really. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of his other calls, I don't follow his calls that precisely, but some of the bigger calls he's been saying has been absolutely wrong. So I wouldn't put that much faith into it, I guess. Am I still bullish on Phantom? Yeah, I like Phantom. I do like Phantom. People still ask about Cadena. Yes, I still like Cadena. Polka Bridge. I haven't heard of Polka Bridge. I'm assuming it's what the name implies, a bridge for Polkadot. Polkadot does have a lot of bridges. A lot of projects have a lot of bridges. Here's the thing about bridges. You got to worry about the security because we've been hearing a lot of bridges get hacked, so be careful with bridges. Ultimately, bridges is just creating synthetic tokens, right? It's like the best way to think about bridges is like it's a bank. So, let's say if you want Polkadot, you're bridging to Ethereum. Right now, you get to take ERC20 tokens like ETH, and then you could create like a synthetic version of ETH on Polkadot. That's exactly what it does. It takes it and deposits your crypto, and it gives you a synthetic version of it. So it's like a crypto bank, which is why so many hackers try to hack bridges because they're so loaded with crypto. And bridges, most people don't know, is really just a separate network with separate nodes that are powering the network or the bridge. And usually there's not nearly as many nodes powering the bridge versus the regular chain. So it's more vulnerable that way too. This is how the Ronin bridge was able to be hacked because the hackers basically got control of more than 50% of the nodes that was powering the Ronin bridge. So you got to be careful with bridges. Overall, I'm not a big fan of bridges. They definitely they serve their purpose, But I think using native tokens obviously is the more secure way to trade, I guess. All right, guys. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. The overall U.S. market today looking like it's going to be a pretty dumpy day. But Bitcoin is holding, crypto down, overall down a little bit. But, you know, still a lot of worries right now, especially in Europe. Jordan, in 5 years, do you see XRP being the people's currency? I don't know if you're joking about that, Orange Lambo. I really hope you're joking about that. XRP will never be the people's currency. It wasn't even created for the people. I mean, come on. Come on, guys. XRP was created for banks and financial institutions. It was never created for people. So I hope you're joking. Okay, I hope you're joking. But anyways, overall, guys, you know what? Couple bad things that I talked about. UK's inflation or projected inflation. Europe being cut off from Nordstream natural gas, right? That's bad. We have other fear. Meme coins going down today. JPMorgan expecting a lot of a bigger rate hike, right? So there's stuff, macro stuff that's definitely affecting the market right now. But does that mean all this is bad for Bitcoin? Short term, I would say yes. Obviously, Bitcoin cannot break through all the headwinds it's facing right now. But long term, definitely Bitcoin will find a way and continue forward. So stay strong, my friends. Join the number of holders. Over 90% of Bitcoin is being held for longer than 5 years. Think about that. 90% of the overall supply is being held longer than 5 years. So join us holders. All right. Stay strong, focus on the future, and have patience. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.